Back in the early days of Twitter, co-founder Evan Williams stood in front of a room full of investors and boldly stated, "We're going to change the way people communicate." A few smiled, some looked skeptical, and one investor, who would later deeply regret passing, dismissed it outright. To him, it looked like a toy, a trivial status update machine. Years later, after Twitter redefined how news, politics, and culture flowed in real time, that same investor attempted to launch a competing platform. It failed within 6 months. The irony is rich, but the insight is richer. Entrepreneurs often fear failure as a signal of incompetence, when in fact, it's a byproduct of growth. The Twitter founders didn't wait for consensus. They weren't seeking approval. They launched early, iterated fast, and were unafraid of falling flat. That boldness didn't guarantee success, but it guaranteed learning. And learning in entrepreneurship compounds faster than perfection. At the heart of the fail-fast mindset is a core principle. Speed of learning matters more than playing it safe. Entrepreneurs don't operate in controlled labs. They operate in chaotic, ever-changing environments. The market doesn't reward caution, it rewards clarity. And clarity only comes through interaction, through trial, through small losses that teach big lessons. Failure, when used well, is not a detour from success. It's a compressed form of education. The faster you get to your first set of mistakes, the faster you uncover assumptions that don't hold up, customer needs you misunderstood, and models that won't scale. The longer you delay action, the longer you rely on guesswork. And guesswork, no matter how well dressed, is a poor substitute for reality. This is not a call to recklessness. It's a call to take intelligent risks. You form a hypothesis about a feature, a customer behavior, a pricing model, and you test it in the smallest, fastest way possible. If it breaks, you don't retreat. You analyze, you revise, and you go again. Failure becomes part of your operating system, not a system crash. Take Instagram. The app we know today started as Bourbon, a location check-in app cluttered with features. Users weren't engaging. But instead of doubling down, co-founders Kevin Systrom and Mike Krieger stripped the product down to the one feature users liked: photo sharing. The pivot wasn't a stroke of genius, it was a response to failure. Had they feared admitting it, Instagram would have died as another bloated app in a crowded marketplace. No amount of whiteboard strategy can reveal what the market will only tell you through real-world feedback. Planning is useful, but it's not reality. Testing is. Failure has the unique advantage of cutting through theory. It removes speculation. It reveals how customers behave, not just how they say they will. Consider the early days of YouTube. It didn't begin as the video sharing giant we know today. In fact, its original purpose was to be a video dating site. Tune in, hook up, was the tagline. The founders, Chad Hurley, Steve Chen, and Jawed Karim, launched it in 2005, hoping people would upload videos introducing themselves. But no one did. Weeks passed with little traction. Instead of clinging to their original vision, they paid close attention to what was happening. Users began uploading all kinds of videos, random clips, short skits, personal moments, not dating profiles. So they pivoted. They dropped the dating concept and focused purely on easy video uploading and sharing. That shift, from their failed idea to what people actually wanted, wasn't a leap of genius. It was a fast response to early feedback. According to CB Insights, the #1 reason startups fail, cited in 42% of cases, is that there's no market need for their product. That's not a technology issue. It's not a talent gap. It's a failure to learn fast enough that your idea isn't solving a real problem. That clarity doesn't come from planning. It comes from putting something into the world. letting it fail, and learning from the response. YouTube succeeded not because the founders got it right the first time, but because they listened when they got it wrong. Failure doesn't only challenge your business model, it challenges your identity. And this is where many entrepreneurs fall apart, not because the business can't recover, but because they can't. They tie their self-worth to success, and so every failure feels like an indictment. But the most effective entrepreneurs don't avoid mistakes. They depersonalize them. They see failure as process feedback, not personal judgment. They don't internalize outcomes, they internalize lessons. Research from Stanford psychologist Carol Dweck reinforces this idea. Her work on growth mindset shows that individuals who see ability as malleable, something that can be developed, respond to failure by increasing effort and refining strategy. Those with a fixed mindset, however, interpret failure as a reflection of permanent inadequacy. The difference in long-term outcomes is staggering. A practical example of this is Brian Chesky at Airbnb. In the early days, they couldn't get investors to believe in the idea. One venture capitalist even told him, "People won't rent out their homes to strangers. This is dangerous." They were rejected over and over. But instead of quitting, Chesky examined the rejections, tweaked the pitch, and refined the user onboarding flow. He focused on what the failures were trying to teach him, not what they implied about his worth. The takeaway here is vital. Resilience isn't about ignoring failure. It's about developing the cognitive tools to use it. If failure feels like a full stop, your mindset is misaligned with entrepreneurship. But if failure feels like an input, a signal, then you're building something powerful, a feedback-driven engine for growth. There's a quiet beauty in how failure filters out the superficial. It tests your motives. It clarifies what you really want. Are you chasing applause, or are you building something meaningful? Failure doesn't care about your branding. It cares about your foundation. And if your foundation is weak, your conviction, your mission, your hunger, failure will expose it. But that's the point. The faster you fail, the faster you discover the parts that need strengthening. Weak pricing models, bloated features, bad partnerships, unclear messaging. These are issues better discovered at month 2 than year 2. Spotify tested their freemium model years before others believed it could work. There were early missteps, licensing issues, revenue confusion, limited reach. But founder Daniel Ek wasn't trying to impress the market. He was trying to learn from it. Every early failure helped refine the model. And when competitors tried to mimic the freemium approach, they lacked the depth of insight Spotify had already earned through years of iteration. So fail fast, not to check a box, but to filter your flaws. The point isn't that failure is good. The point is that delayed failure is worse. Because the longer you hide from the truth, the more expensive it becomes to fix. The future of entrepreneurship belongs to those who learn faster than others. In a world that changes by the quarter, the entrepreneur who adapts the quickest has the edge. And adaptation doesn't come from success. It comes from interpreting failure, making adjustments, and moving forward. The key isn't how often you fall, the key is how quickly you convert a fall into forward motion. Do you retreat into fear, or do you extract insight and build a better version of your model, your product, or yourself? As author and entrepreneur Naval Ravikant put it, play long-term games with long-term people. The players with the best learning curves win. Entrepreneurship isn't a lottery. It's a discipline of accelerated growth. And if you're willing to fail fast, reflect honestly, and adjust relentlessly, you'll not only increase your chances of success, you'll deserve it. So go, build something, test it, break it, learn from it, then build again. Because if you're not failing, you're not innovating. And if you're not learning, you're not leading.